pretty. So today is May 4th, 2020. Today was supposed to be my day in quarantine to rest, like how the Bible says. And on Star Wars Day, we binge all the movies on Disney+. But almost a week ago, Stephenie Meyer's website turned into a countdown and everyone started freaking out, including myself. I'm a really big Twilight fan. If this is the first video you're watching of mine, I'm a big Twilight fan. I mean, I still have an Edward poster on my closet door from when I was 13. When I turned 23, I threw a birthday party called Forever 23. I rented an Airbnb for all of my friends, and we played Twilight drinking games and dressed up as things from the Twilight movies. One of my friends dressed up as the graduation cap mural. So I was excited, to say the least. And there was all the speculation. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Midnight Sun? Is it gonna be a sequel to The Host, which we've been waiting for literally ever? And if it wasn't gonna be something Twilight related, I was genuinely going to cry. However, I didn't think it was gonna be Midnight Sun. Stephenie Meyer has always said that she will not be releasing Midnight Sun. She would no longer be working on Midnight Sun. So I started speculating about all the different things that it could be. And if it wasn't going to be Twilight related, I wanted it to be a sequel to The Host. So this morning I set an alarm for when that timer was going to stop counting. And I turned off the alarm and I slept through it. And then I woke up again at 11 to find that the Stephenie Meyer website had totally crashed. You couldn't get on it. It was not loading. So instead I went to Twitter and my good friend Carter tweeted me the announcement for Midnight Sun. I felt very underwhelmed by this announcement, mostly because everyone was saying that it was going to be Midnight Sun. This is what we expected. But I was also a little bit disappointed about it because I think that there are so many other things that we could get from the Twilight series that would make amazing books. We've already gotten Life and Death, which is a gender-bent version of Twilight, which Stephenie Meyer released for the 10th anniversary of Twilight. And it's where all the characters are the same except they're boys instead of girls or girls instead of boys for most of the characters. Obviously, this has different implications that I'm not going to get into, but we've already gotten the same book from a different perspective. By now we know that it's going to be over 600 pages. I still think it'll be interesting to see what other things went on outside of what Bella was narrating, because Stephenie Meyer writes her books from a first-person narration. You don't get anything else that's going on. You don't get any other perspective. So while it is interesting, I wish it could be so many other things. And I'm gonna list them for you. The top story that I want Stephenie Meyer to write in the Twilight universe is Carlisle's story. I think Carlisle is A, one of the best characters in Twilight, and B, one of the most interesting characters in Twilight. Obviously, we get a lot of his story in the first book, but we get even more in the Twilight Illustrated Guide. And I would love to see like a novel written from Carlisle's perspective about Carlisle's story, maybe a significant point in his life that also retells the story of when he was turned into a vampire. My top wish list Twilight book is Carlisle's story. Second, I would love to see a retelling of what happened between the Volturi and the Romanians. In Breaking Dawn, or if you've seen the movies, Breaking Dawn Part 2, we meet Vladimir and Stefan, the Romanian coven. They used to be the vampire rulers, and then one day they were overthrown by the Volturi. And I would absolutely love to see like a super historical setting, gothic context of what exactly happened between the Volturi and the Romanians. If it's going to be a sequel, I guess it could be about Renesmee and maybe Jacob. This definitely wouldn't be my favorite book to read from this universe, but I think that it would be interesting to see Renesmee after the events of Breaking Dawn growing up, or when she is grown up. Maybe because it's Stephenie Meyer, we get a romance between her and Jacob, something along those lines. But that's definitely not at the top of my list. Bella going back to high school for the first time. Look, we know the Cullens like to integrate themselves into human life, And to do it for as long as possible, they have to start as young as they can, and that's why they start in high school. I would love to see Bella as a vampire going back to high school for the first time with the Cullens. I think it would be a cool compare and contrast to the original novels of her human seeing the Cullens in a high school and her as a vampire being part of their family and going to high school with them. I think that would be super interesting. Rosalie. I mean, anything about Rosalie, I will read. Rosalie is like the unsung hero of the Twilight novels. She's a bad bitch and she deserves some books. This one, not a lot of people know about, but I would love to see a book about Chaos and the Children of the Moon. We learn in Breaking Dawn that there is a group of werewolves that have been hunted to extinction, supposedly by Chaos, and that's why he's so scared of the shape-shifting werewolves in Twilight. And they were a group of werewolves called Children of the Moon. I think it would be super interesting to hear more of that lore in novel form, and also I would hope it would be from their perspective and maybe their run-in with Chaos. I would also love to see Denali's mother creating an immortal child and the full novel-length story of that. We get it very briefly in Breaking Dawn. I would love to see their relationship with their mother, how her mother came to create an immortal child, and how the Volturi dealt with it and then made laws against creating immortal children. I would also love to see a novel or even a short story collection about the Volturi Guard and how they came to be part of the Volturi. I think it would be super interesting to get little short story snippets of each member of the Volturi Guard and how they became part of the Volturi Guard. So those are all the things that I think we should get instead of Midnight Sun. Obviously, I'm going to take Midnight Sun. Look, I've been a Twilight fan for a long time, and I've read those 6 chapters of Midnight Sun, and I've always wished that we had more. I wish that Stephanie Meyer hadn't been so stubborn and had released it earlier, but I will take what I can get. I will read Midnight Sun, and you bet I will be doing some sort of video about it, probably a reading vlog. Here we are. It's May 4th. It was supposed to be Star Wars Day, and now it's sort of disappointed about Midnight Sunday.